So I'll start off by explaining what exactly an infectious disease is. It's a disease that is caused by the invasion of a host by agents whose activities harm the host tissue function and eventually can be transmitted to other individuals. Specifically, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases classify emerging infectious diseases as outbreaks of previously unknown diseases, known diseases that are rapidly increasing, or the persistence of infectious disease that cannot be controlled. Specifically, reemerging diseases are diseases that reappear after they have been on a significant decline. These may occur because of the breakdown in public health measures of diseases that once were controlled, or when new strands of known diseases of causing organisms reappear. Examples of emerging diseases are COVID, HIV, Lyme disease, and Zika. These come from different viruses, either from human tracing or bacteria tracing or even animal tracings. Reemerging infectious diseases include malaria, tuberculosis, and influenza. So we might ask the question of how rapid growth of infectious diseases begin. Traveling abroad, increased urbanization, increased number of refugees, increased tourism, and the lack of vaccinations among the youth might be part of the rapid growth process. Acute and protracted humanitarian emergencies might also cause a fragile health system, increased population mobility, weak surveillance, and limited lab diagnostic capacity, which also might lead to a spike. Health risks of emerging and reemerging infectious diseases might also stem from geographic, environmental, and social determinants, which also predispose individuals to contracting an infectious disease. Specifically, those who live in urban communities in close proximity to each other, and those in rural communities that might have lack of resources. Human and animal relationships can also be identified as an important risk due to recent emerging diseases that are zoonotic, specifically COVID that stem from a bat. Individuals who use airline travel might also be susceptible due to the recirculated air in the confined space. Exposed travelers to these airborne diseases might also risk exposing their population to novel diseases. Those who are most at risk, who have had other previous medical conditions, cancer, chronic kidney disease, COPD, weakened immune system from solid organ transplants, obesity, the elderly, those who have had respiratory issues, and those who have underlying medical issues are the most at risk. The most recent findings of disease and their research over the past couple of decades includes the Multilateral Malaria Initiative at NIH. Malaria and TB have caused more illnesses and deaths over the past 2 decades. They work to enhance international collaboration and encourage involvement in malaria research resources. Government and international agencies have collaborated on the new repository of materials available to researchers worldwide, develop research programs of all phases, and develop projects to determine genetic sequences. 4 new vaccines have recently developed to prevent Hep B, rotavirus, IH type B, and acellular pertussis, and are being universally administered. Other new findings that have occurred in the past week include the mosquito-borne virus that might be linked to the occurrence of strokes. Scientists have isolated the smallest antibody component that is highly effective against SARS-CoV-2 virus through animal studies. In research, there comes challenges. So it may be possible to eradicate certain infectious diseases and to significantly control others, but it seems unlikely to eliminate most emerging infectious diseases in the foreseeable future. due to the fact that pathogenic microorganisms can undergo rapid and environmental changes. Infectious diseases are recognized by the public and media, so if we don't do the job in reporting evidence and funding research, it might be difficult to fix. Also, having the availability of resources and maximizing them in order to sustain and increase collaboration is key. Over history, experts tend to be less persuaded by success than alarmed by failures. For example, factors that resulted in AIDS led to the re-emergence of other historically important diseases, such as the trench disease and the plague. When deciding how to handle re-emerging and emerging diseases, the WHO has formalized an infrastructure for responding to the heightened need of early awareness of outbreaks and preparedness to respond. The procedure for outbreak alerts and response has 4 phases: systematic detection, outbreak verification, real time alerts, and rapid response. On the other end, the CDC prevention strategy includes surveillance, applied research, prevention and control, and the infrastructure. The implementation process works to strengthen surveillance and link existing research facilities, initiate prevention effectiveness studies, develop and implement guidelines for prevention of opportunistic infections, and provide a state of the art training in diagnostic evaluation and testing. So, the 5 main priorities in research of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases includes 1. The support of application of relevant scientific knowledge and new technologies, which detects and identifies emerging diseases by expanding research of ecological and environmental factors that influence disease emergence and transmission. Second, the support of the application of recent discoveries in new biomedical technologies that identify, manage, and control emerging diseases. By expanding research on these changes and adaptations that influence disease emergence. 3. Providing fundamental information for developing prevention and treatment strategies that can be employed to decrease the disease impact by expanding research on host susceptibility to emerging and re-emerging pathogens. 4. Supporting the development and validation of vaccines, therapies, and other control strategies for specific diseases with the potential of emerging or re-emerging diseases. And 5. Strengthen the current U.S. research and training infrastructure for detecting and responding to outbreaks of the infectious diseases. So I'll end with the discussion question. Global Outbreak Alert and Response Network and the CDC Prevention Strategy are said to be 2 reliable sources that gather and relay disease intelligence to the public in an effective and timely manner. What are other systems that could be used to handle emerging and re-emerging infectious disease control? And what methods would you suggest in the prevention and implementation process? And these are my sources. Thank you.